um, in a quarterback, not just so the on-field performance.
Okay, guys, thanks very much. And now we are underway. We'll take you there live right now inside the Everest Indoor Training Center, the campus of Oklahoma. Here comes Kyler Murray. One throw already in, little quick slant, complete, no problem. Daniel Jeremiah is with us down there as well. And DJ, give us a sense of what you're watching as Kyler begins this session from a mechanics standpoint all the way through.
Yeah, one of the things you'd be looking at is just the feet, because the ball jumps out of his hand. You can see that immediately. So it's how crisp are his feet. One of the things he does on tape that is pretty unique is he doesn't have to grind his cleats into the ground to be able to drive the ball and be accurate. But something long-term, you want to see a guy get your feet in the ground, use that base, use that platform. So I'm sure that's something that Jim Zorn, who's running this workout, has been working with him on.
Yeah, Jim Zorn, the former head coach of the Washington Redskins, will now run the Seattle franchise of the XFL when that gets going. And there's a look at Kyler's feet. Bucky Brooks here with me in studio here in L.A. And Bucky, from what you've seen from him on tape, his best throws to you, Kyler Murray?
I mean, I think he can make every throw. I think the thing that stands out, DJ talked about looking at his feet. To me, the thing that stands out right away is it is easy for him to make these throws, particularly at short and intermediate range. Not a lot of effort that he's exerting to make throws from far hash to sideline. I think what DJ talks about, being able to throw with his feet fully, firmly in the ground, you do want to see that, because in inclement conditions, when the wind is blowing against him, does he have enough arm strength to kind of drive the ball into it? But you can see right now, he has no issues when it comes to making throws all over the field.
Question. Another close-up look here at the footwork from Kyler Murray, your 2018 Heisman Trophy winner. He and Deshaun Watson, the only players in college football history to throw for over 4,000 passing yards and rush for over 1,000 as well. He's really using only two guys that he played with
I'm going to jump in here.
DJ. Sure.
I was going to just tell you real quick, there's nothing more overrated than how a quarterback's going to take a drop that's been in the shotgun. It's like we make this out to be rocket science. It's 5 steps. It's not that hard. This guy was the 9th pick in the baseball draft. He's going to get comfortable with a drop. You can see it already. Looks like he's been doing this his whole life, dropping back very smooth, very fluid.
DJ, like, because you're there, like you talked about the ball jumping out of his arm. Like, how hard is it coming out, but is it a very catchable ball? Because from my vantage point, it looks like he throws a nice soft ball for the receiver, but it has plenty of zip to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I always think the best throws are firm throws. They're not huge, blow the doors off power throws. They're just nice firm throws, and you'll see some anticipation as well on some of these end cuts. You saw it a minute ago. The ball's out early. It's firm. That's where it needs to be. It's a really, really pretty ball when you get a chance to see it here live.
Right. You don't want to break down a brick wall with it, right? But you want it to get there with pace, and you got to be able to catch it.
I think the most important part is, like, wide receivers like catching the ball. It doesn't overwhelm them. They're able to just kind of throw their hands up and catch it, and it doesn't necessarily wear them out. And I just think you can just tell, like, the baseball background, how easy it is. To me, it's almost like he's caught a can of corn and just kind of throwing it back into the infield.
It's Murray kind of simulating stepping up there in the pocket and getting it down over the middle to one of his big fellas right now. And so he's got one of his fullback last year is out there catching passes for him, and a redshirt receiver as well, Charleston Rambo, out there that he threw some passes to last year for the Sooners. Otherwise, a couple of former Oklahoma wideouts back in 2016 that are there here catching passes for Kyler Murray here in his pro day. Remember, we did not see him throw in the combine, so this is our first shot here since the end of the regular season for Oklahoma to see what Kyler Murray's been working on. And if you did have to look, Bucky and DJ, from the tape that you guys watched, if there were areas where you wanted to see him get better as a passer, things that you're looking for then to kind of help give you some evidence of that improvement.
I think the big thing that you wanted to see from Kyler Murray off his game tape, you want to see how is he going to perform when the pocket is a little muddy.
Right.
Does he have the discipline to stay in the pocket, deliver accurate throws, or is he going to be a guy that looks to leave the pocket as soon as the first sign of it breaking down? The great quarterbacks in this league are able to kind of stand there when rushers are kind of beating down on them and continue to deliver accurate throws. I believe he can do it, but you want to see more evidence of it on tape. And so in the workouts, when they begin to move people around and maybe they simulate some rushes, I just kind of want to see how he changes his arm angle as he's kind of staying there and delivering against guys that would potentially be rushers.
DJ, this
Red,
look is good.
I know you've got Charlie and Mark there too. I'd like to get their thoughts on this as well. But one of the things that I really like about him as a passer is his ability to change the trajectory of the ball. We've seen some flat balls that have been driven. We've seen him put a lot of air up under a high corner route, and then we've seen a nice kind of a firm ball on a corner route. So to me, that's one of the things. You see guys that everything's flat and hard. He could change trajectory pretty easy.
Indeed, DJ just mentioned it. We do have a couple of Super Bowl winning executives with us, Charlie Casserly, Mark Ross as well. Guys, your early thoughts here on what you're seeing from Charlie, from Kyler Murray here?
Well, you got an A+ so far, okay, if we're going to grade this thing. The ball comes out quick. It's firm. You guys talked about DJ, a catchable ball. That's great. He's been accurate on all his throws. You're seeing different NFL throws. One of the things about his footwork, and obviously he's polished it up very good here, but when you watch on tape, in the NFL, you're not going to have plays where you're just going to be able to do what he's doing here. Sometimes your feet are going one way and the ball's got to go the other, and he can do that. That's one of the amazing things. And by the way, credit Jim Zorn here. He's a heck of a quarterback coach, and wish him luck in his new endeavor.
Yeah, this is easy for Kyler. I mean, the traditional thing was the classic over-the-shoulder drive it, feet set, and all that. But this new breed of quarterbacks are these guys that can just throw it any kind of way. The baseball throwers, like Mahomes was and like Kyler Murray is. Like, just think about that kid when you're growing up in your neighborhood. Who's going to be the quarterback? Kyler Murray was always that guy, and because he can throw like this. So this is easy. The scripted work out of this, he's knocking this out of the park, which he should. But he does these things in games where nothing phases him. Whatever situation he's in, whatever pressure he's in, he can just throw the ball at any angle to wherever he needs to get the ball.
Right.
What's an interesting point here, guys? Rhett, just sorry to interrupt you there, but you talk to different people. You'll hear the same information, but a different interpretation. Like one of the concerns with Kyler is, man, there's no pressure. I put a clock on it in one game. It's 8 seconds back there. He's got to throw. He got 4 NFL offensive linemen we saw work out today. And then you talk to somebody else, and they'll say, you talk to one person and say, you know what, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, they rushed 3 against him. He's not going to see that in the NFL. At times, he's not going to be there. You talk to somebody else and say, man, if I had a quarterback that mobile, they can only rush 3 against him because they got to count for his athletic ability. So it's the same exact information. Somebody spins it positive, and somebody else will spin it negative.
Right, right. It kind of depends on your perspective of it all, I guess. That's a good point there, DJ. But, the one thing, if you do kind of turn on the tape, he wasn't hit a whole bunch at Oklahoma. He did have the luxury of playing in front of some really good offensive linemen and kind of has been in a winning situation, surrounded by a lot of talent going all the way back to his high school days, right, Bucky?
Yeah, he has. Look, the guy's been a winner. 43-0 as a high school player, won 3 straight titles at Allen High School. Has continued to be successful whenever he's had the opportunity to play. At Oklahoma, some of the people will certainly point out that, look, he's playing with an all-star cast of characters on his squad, but it's the same cast of characters that Baker Mayfield played with the season before. And I think what helps Kyler Murray in the evaluation is Baker Mayfield was able to quickly and seamlessly transition from the college system that he played at Oklahoma to the pro system that he was thrust in Cleveland. And he had a lot of success. Kyler Murray can certainly have similar success in Cliff Kingsbury's system if he's the number 1 overall. But really, I think he can kind of fit into any situation and system. A lot of it depends on the play caller and what will the play caller design to allow Kyler Murray to be very, very comfortable, because he has a complete toolbox. He can win in a variety of different ways from the pocket.
Yep. Yeah, I want to go back to the pressure thing with Kyler. You do see him. I watched a bunch of film on him, and I'm not sure. He does have a lot of throws where he doesn't get pressured, but you do see this guy get pressured. And if you pressure him, he's going to tear you apart. I mean, he's either going to slide. He has an unbelievable feel in the pocket to slide and find his throwing lanes and get out of the way, or just take off and run and get 30 yards on you in a blink. So defensive coordinator is going to be scared to death to play this guy because he can make throws with people in his face by sliding. He can move around the pocket to create throwing lanes outside the pocket. And then he also has the ability to just take off and make first downs easily.
Sure, and while we didn't get to see him run the 40 today, you know what? I think you turn on any Oklahoma Sooners game this past year, and you're going to see how fast he was, right?
I've never seen a guy go from 0 to 100 as quick as Kyler Murray does. I mean,
Right.
it is unbelievable how he can just go from standstill or just slightly moving and then just take off in an instant.
You know, in thinking about all of what he brings to the table, I think the Russell Wilson comparison is a valid one in terms of his ability to not only be able to make throws from the pocket, make it from different platforms, give you a little dynamic playmaking ability as a runner, and then to just create improbable situations. And so with the baseball background, I do believe some of the Pat Mahomes stuff that we have seen kind of take the league by storm, I believe he offers some of that. I'm not saying that they're the same guy, but I do believe the baseball background, being able to throw from a variety of different angles, will make him a very dangerous playmaker to have to defend.
DJ, do you kind of fall into alignment on that comparison in those types of categories with Mahomes?
You know, it's interesting because it's what we were talking about, putting this all together with, you know, is he going to be under pressure? Has he been under pressure? And what's he going to do when he is at the next level? And it's, hey, if you want to throw a bunch of guys at Russell Wilson, you want to blitz Russell Wilson, you better get home, because if you miss him, he's either going to create enough time to gash you over the top in the passing game, or you're going to be left naked and he's going to take off and get 40, 50 yards with his legs. So it really discourages that type of approach defensively.
Right, do it at your own
which
risk.
is a huge advantage when you're scripting and putting a game plan together.
Right, so Kyler Murray, again, pretty impressive thus far here. DJ, does it look as good to you there in person as it has here on the screen to us?
It's just easy.
Yeah.
It's just easy. Everything is real smooth and fluid and easy. And he missed a seam where he tried to really power the ball and it got a little bit up on him, and it was incomplete. So they came back to it about maybe 8 or 9 throws later. He put a little more air under it. He kind of chuckled a little bit, just kind of making that adjustment. I'll get the completion this time. But the best way I'd say it, he is very comfortable in this environment. Very comfortable.
Right there behind Kyler Murray, just to his left, you see the head coach of the New York Giants, Pat Shurmur, who no longer has the luxury of calling plays that involve Odell Beckham after the Giants sent him packing to Cleveland, but getting a front row seat there to Kyler Murray's workout. All 32 teams represented here, as you would expect at an Oklahoma Pro Day. But again, interesting to note that the Cardinals did not send their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, GM Steve Keim, or Michael Bidwell as well there. They do have scouts in attendance, obviously, as well. But
yeah, they have scouts in attendance. Maybe they elected to watch the coverage on NFL Network, and they said, look, I can get a better view just by sitting in the seat in the offices there in Tempe. Eventually, they'll have an opportunity to work Kyler Murray out, and they'll be able to put him through the paces. But in terms of this workout, look, he's just checking off the boxes. We knew he was an A-plus arm talent. We knew he has tremendous athleticism. You just kind of want to see it live and in color, and you see it. He can do all the things that you want to do. It's really a matter of, do you want this style of quarterback as your quarterback, or would you prefer a more traditional quarterback or something like that? But I just think it's apparent that this guy has a lot of talent that you can work with, and if you're a creative offensive play caller, he really expands the playbook for you.
Yeah, Jim Zorn, again, you see there in the white shirt and black pants running this throwing session for Kyler Murray, longtime quarterback coach in the NFL. Spent 11 seasons as a quarterback in the league and was the head coach of the Washington Redskins for 2 years. Kind of curious as to what kind of insight and coaching that he's been able to provide Kyler Murray.
Well, I will say this, having worked with Zorn with the Seahawks for 3 or so years, like, he is a bright mind. He is a great quarterback developer. He does some unorthodox things in terms of on the field to get quarterbacks ready to play. He does a great job of pushing them outside their comfort zone so they become more comfortable in chaos. And what he has been able to do, you can already tell just in doing the drops from under center, how comfortable Kyler is. I mean, you're dealing with a talented athlete, but just making sure he's very, very comfortable being able to do the traditional 3, 5, 7-step drops that some play callers like to have. And then I'm sure he is being able to help Kyler Murray on the board. The big question that a lot of teams will have coming from the air raid system, which some would say maybe is simple, can he take a playbook that is full of volume, understand it, express it and communicate it to his teammates while also knowing where the reads go? I think he can. I just think it's a matter of matching up the athletic talent with what he's able to do from a mental standpoint to make sure that he's able to play quickly in his first year.
DJ, I'd love to get your thoughts
hey guys,
in that regard. simply wondering if the success of Baker Mayfield making the transition as a rookie has any effect on how guys kind of evaluate the potential of Kyler Murray to do the same.
Yeah, look, he's smart. Everybody you talk to talks about how smart. He said it with Baker Mayfield. They say the same thing here with Kyler. So it's going to be different just in terms of the terminology, being a little bit more when you get to the next level. But he's going to be able to pick that up. He had protections at his disposal at the line of scrimmage. So he's had some work in that department. They don't have a ton of different protections, but he get a chance to make those decisions. So that'll help him get going there. And to me, it just, you look at the mental capability he possesses, and then you have to do your homework on the work ethic. And everything I've got here talking to folks at the school was that he's going to put in the time to get that done. So I don't really worry about that from a transition standpoint. The one point I did want to bring up, we're probably, 35 throws in?
About.
How many movement throws? Zero. They are showing his ability to drop back and throw the ball right from the pocket. We know he can scramble around and run around and roll outs and boots and make all kinds of crazy throws. They're not doing that. They're making a statement from the pocket today.
You know, DJ, and speaking of that, like when we watched the tape and when you watched the tape, I thought he was a guy that really performed primarily from the pocket. I didn't see a guy that was really on the edges making a lot of plays outside the pocket. What was your evaluation of him when you looked at him on the tape? Did you view him as more of a traditional pocket passer who had the extra flavor when it came to being an athlete?
Yeah, he did it about 3 times a game. So he was in the pocket the majority of the time, in a clean pocket, mind you, for the most part, throwing the ball from inside. But when you got run-throughs, he had a couple plays where you could put the Globetrotters music as background music because he scrambled around and weaving and moving all over the place, buying all kinds of time. Yeah, I did do that on Instagram, right? I appreciate that. Move the 6 on Instagram, good plug. But he's got that capability, and he just pulls it out when necessary. It's not his primary weapon, but when he's forced to use it, he can do it. Most pro days, you see a million of these quarterback pro days, they're mixing in a lot more movement throughout, and so far they haven't done that.
So, DJ, a lot of times we talk about accuracy of a quarterback, and you want to see that from his throws in the pocket, which we're getting a good look at here. How would you kind of judge his ball placement, which, again, is a part of the accuracy, allowing receivers to catch a ball and continue running, ball placement in terms of routes being run and giving guys a chance to make plays after they catch it?
That's pretty darn good. He's excellent in that department. So, Hollywood Brown, every now and then he's going to be open by 30 yards, and you don't have to put it out in front of him. He can catch it like a punt when he gets that open. Which, by the way, those talking to their coach here, Lincoln Riley, asked him a little bit earlier who was faster between Kyler and Hollywood Brown. And he said in 100, Hollywood. In a 40, it'd be a good race.
Really? Okay, well, we haven't seen either one of them run a 40 because Kyler has declined that opportunity. We're not going to see either one of them run a 40 either.
I
know. And Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, had surgery for a Liz Frank injury back in January. So unfortunately, we haven't seen him run as well. Let's get back over to Mark Ross. You have something to add, Mark?
Yeah, I just want to talk about the whole nature of these pro days. We go through these pro days with quarterbacks every year in these throwing sessions, and it's designed and set up for quarterbacks to look good. And we kind of come out every year saying, man, he looked great. Teddy Bridgewater is kind of really the only one I can remember where we came out of the pro day saying, man, that didn't look so good. And remember, he had to have a second one where he threw the glove controversy and all that. So Kyler should have come out of this looking good. He is looking good. DJ mentioned earlier there's nothing more overrated than the 5-step drop, but I think just the whole concept of these throwing sessions is, I know it's intriguing and everybody loves to watch it, but if your mind's hasn't been made up on Kyler Murray watching all the film and being in practices up to this point, if you need to convince yourself that he's worth the first pick or second pick, whatever he's going to be, then